Hey everyone, hope you're having a good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about my truck, which is a 2004 Chevy Silverado Z71 extended cab. And we haven't talked about my truck much on the channel, but it's going to be getting some TLC, and I'd like to take you along with what I'm going to be doing on the truck and get some videos out there. What I want to do today is talk briefly about what needs to be done on the truck and what you can expect to see in future videos, and also what we're going to do today. So even though it only has 85,000 miles on it, it's still a 14-year-old truck or 18-year-old truck. So we're going to be replacing a lot of the steering components, tightening that up a little bit. Also, the upper and lower ball joints are going to get replaced. This step is in pretty rough condition. In fact, you can probably see daylight where that bracket is supposed to be. So these are coming off. Those might get done today. I've been spraying the bolts with PB Blaster for about 2 weeks, but I'm a little nervous because these are body mount bolts, and so if I ring one off, I'm going to have a bigger situation that I have to deal with. Kind of looking back here, I was power washing my truck the other day and was knocking some of the rust off the frame. So we're going to knock some more rust off of that frame and then paint it so that it will last for a lot longer. Really, it's in pretty good condition. There's not much going on with it, so I think we're good there. As far as stuff that I'm going to be upgrading on the truck, so today we're going to be putting rear wheel well fenders on the back two tires. Now, if we look at the front already has them, and what they do is just add a little more protection from some of the components that are back there, and really that black background, the black background looks really nice. So we're going to do the same thing back here, and this is going to keep salt and rocks and other things from hitting that part of the frame. So it's going to cover up the frame, and it's going to cover up all of this. So we're going to have to get the power washer out and clean this and dry it off first. I don't want to trap any dirt or moisture in there. In fact, here they are. These are from Rough Country, and a lot of the parts that I'm going to be getting are going to be from Rough Country, but these should be pretty simple to put in, so we're going to do that today. I haven't decided if I'm going to put new steps on yet, but stay tuned. We'll decide what that looks like. And the birds are really loud today. I'm sure you can hear them. These wheels, these are alloy wheels, and you can see the corrosion here. I've been trying to find a replacement from a junkyard, and really all of these wheels have this corrosion. So we're going to sandblast them and refinish them ourselves. That might get done here soon. We'll have to wait and see. And then one of the other things we're going to do on the front here is add a bull bar and an LED light. And one of the reasons we're doing that and a lot of the other things on the truck is my wife and I are going to be going on a trip here soon. It's going to be about 5,000 miles, and we live on the East Coast. We're driving all the way out to the Oregon coast and back, so we're putting a few thousand miles on the truck, and with gas prices now, that's going to be pretty expensive, but it's something that we've wanted to do, so we're going to do it. And I'm going to try to get a lot of this done before we go. But this is important because driving out in the Midwest, there's a lot of deer, and I want to give as much protection as I can to my radiator and the different parts in the front, but also that LED light is going to allow me to just really brighten up those long, dark highways driving through Iowa and Illinois and places like that. So we're going to get that on. And then the last thing that is on the list to do is this rocker panel. You can see it's pretty much rusted all the way through. There's a hole there. So I think I'm going to try to do this myself, and that should be an adventure. I've seen some videos and it looks pretty time consuming, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm trying to do this fairly budget minded. It is an older truck, but this truck will last a long time. Like I said, it's got 85,000 miles on it, and it's got a lot of life left in it. But for today, all we're going to do is the rear wheel well liners, and we might try to take off those steps. So first, we're going to get my power washer, we're going to wash this out, we're going to dry it out, and then install them. So I got it all washed out, and I'm going to dry it down with the towel, but it's pretty clean in here, and you want to make sure you get back in the back here. I'm going to wipe all that down with the towel where I couldn't get it, but let's go ahead and wipe that down, and we'll wait for it to dry. So I got all of that dried off by towel, and I wiped the inside of this flare a little bit, got all the gunk out. The towel was pretty nasty, but we're gonna let that air dry just for a few minutes. While we do that, we're going to go ahead and spray these bolts again with PB Blaster. That way they'll be ready to try to take off later today, maybe. So we're gonna get that bolt, and you can see this is how bad this step is. It's completely broken off right there. So that's going to get replaced. I'm going to go ahead and spray these with PB Blaster. Then we'll take a look at those wheel well liners. Alright, so here's the inner fender liners, and I'm actually a little bit surprised. I expected them to ship in a box, but this is how they shipped. So I'm going to look over it really fast to make sure nothing looks damaged. Everything looks alright, no big holes. There's a few dents, but I mean, it's going to be sitting over a tire getting hit with rocks, so not a big deal. But let's take them apart and see if there's any instructions. I doubt there's instructions, given that they weren't in the box. I did watch the video online on how to install them, and pretty straightforward. Yeah, there's no instructions, not a big deal. So how it's going to work is you have your fender liner, and it should just go right over the tire and fit snugly right up the top. We are going to have to take off this bolt and this bolt, and those are both 13 millimeters. So I'm going to go and take those bolts off and see if we can get this in place without too much trouble. I'm wondering, I don't think these flares are really going to bother it, but this mud flap, we'll have to see how it fits with that. So I was actually wrong. There are instructions. They were taped to the outside of this wheel well cover. But looking through them, what we've got to do is trucks with wheel flares. So mine has wheel flares. That's what this is. And you can see it has these little trim tabs. I don't know exactly what they're called, Christmas tree tabs or something like that. We've got to take these off, and then we have to drill out the fenders, or the wheel well covers, given the template that's already in place. So we need to do that. Also, to note, on top of the fender, or keep calling it fender, on top of the cover, there's one that says pass, that's for the passenger side, and the other says DRV for the driver's side. So I'm going to go and put this one over on the driver's side, just so I don't get them confused. And we're going to pull these tabs out and then drill these holes. Alright, so quick update. If you read the instructions, it says to lift the rear of the truck using a car jack, and then take the bolts off, and you should be able to slide the fender liner right in. I already jacked the truck up. The wheel is off the ground, and I tried for about 15 minutes to get this thing in place, and I just could not get it past the tire. So what I'm going to do is take the tire off so I can get the wheel well liner in, and also get these tabs out and replace them for my flare. So I'm going to take the wheel off, and we'll take it from there. Now that we've got the tire off, I'm just going to test fit this to make sure it fits. Again, we're working with the passenger side first. The only thing that I'm really concerned about is these tabs right here. So I've got two on the top and one here, one on each side here. But these holes don't line up with the tab placements. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these tabs off, and then we're going to unloosen these bolts and fit it up in there. So they do sell a special tool to pull these tabs out, but I don't have one. So all I'm using is a wrench, and I'm going to just try to grab it and pull it out. It's probably not the best way to do it, but since I don't have the wrench, I'm just going to do it this way. Now the liners do come with more of these tabs, so you don't have to worry about breaking them. The instructions specifically say to throw them away when done. So I'm just going to rip them out as best as I can and put the new ones in. For a couple of these that are a little more difficult to get off, all I'm doing is pulling out as far as I can and then snipping off the center section, and then I can just pull it through from the back. Now that I've got the tabs all out, I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts loose. These are 13mm. And then this one over here. And we'll keep these safe with their lug nuts. Now let's do a test fit. Alright, we're ready to go ahead and test fit the liner in now. So it should be as simple as you just fit it up in here. Now this lip right here goes on the inside of the flare. So we're just going to push it up in there. I'm going to start at one corner and work my way around. Nice tight fit, it feels like. It seems like it's going to be a really tight fit, but it's pretty difficult to get this lip around the wheel well edge. So I think we're just going to have to take our time and work it and get it behind there. Alright, this edge isn't wanting to go in there very well. Alright, so this is the edge I'm trying to get in right now, and it's just not going in very well for me. I'm trying to work my way around, but this edge keeps getting caught farther down the line. So I'm wondering if I have to start on this edge and see, this is just not going where I need it to go. I'm wondering if I start on this edge and work my way around, I can meet in the middle to get this under. Let me try that and see how it works. Okay, we got it nice and tight in here, But I did have a couple of trouble spots. One of them being right here. This is on the back side of the wheel well. And the issue I was having, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I have my fender flare, and then there's this other lip, which is part of the body, and then this liner has to go behind that lip, and it just didn't want to go. So, but if you look around here, it sits pretty flush now with my wheel well. So we're gonna leave it like that. The next thing it says is to put the bolts in. Looks like my holes line up pretty good, so I'm gonna go and put those in. All right, so what I'm trying to do is, I've got to use two hands, get my bolt through here, and then there's a bracket that needs to line up with this hole, so I've got to put some tension on the bottom of my fender. So I finally got that bolt back in, and what I had to do was unloosen this bolt down here to give a little slack so I could get that one lined, so I could get the bracket lined back up with that bolt. So now that I've got that in, we're going to start putting these tabs around, and there is already a pre-drill hole. You can see, you might be able to see through it. I can see through it on that one, but I'm going to have to drill all of these out in order for it to fit, and then I think I'm going to have to take off this mud flap and screw it into the liner as well. Here's the tabs that came with the kit. So now I'm going to insert this one and then work my way around with a drill, a 1/4-inch drill bit, and get holes for these tabs. I do want to make sure though that my hole in my fender flare and my wheel well is lined up. So for instance, let's take a look. Right here, you can see maybe the holes aren't quite matching up. So I'm going to move it around until they do, and then I can drill right through that. On these edge ones where I can reach behind, I just push against it to make sure it's tight. I'm going to go ahead and take off this mud flap because I need to get one of the tabs down there, and hopefully I can get it back on without any issue. That came off pretty easy. I'm going to go wipe this down. It looks pretty dirty under here. I'm not sure that has ever been taken off. There is a tab that we did not pull out. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out. And then it feels like there's already a hole in the liner. So I'm going to try to use it and not have to drill another one if I can help it. Alright, let's talk through quickly what I had to do here. So the pre-drilled hole in the liner didn't line up with the hole that I needed to push the tab through. So I ended up having to re-drill the hole for the wheel liner. And then this screw, these are self-tapping screws that were put here, this actually pushed the liner out when it was screwed in. So I had to take that screw out and drill another small hole in the liner so that the screw would sit flush with the liner. But we got it in, so let's put the tire back on and see what it looks like. Alright, so we got this side done, and it looks really good. Matches the front being dark. Fits really nice. Should do a good job protecting the inside. But yeah, man, that looks really good. So we're going to go ahead and do the other side, and unless I come up with something important to share, we're just going to let it roll, speed through it, and see how long it takes us. One quick note, the tabs that are included with this kit, it looks like they do give you 2 extra, just in case you make a boo-boo. So that's good to know. You get 2 extra tabs. You can always go to AutoZone or Advanced Auto and pick up those tabs, but it's nice that they send you extra. Alright, let's go back to it. And they are all done. So the new fender liners are up here. They're solid. One thing I might be worried about as I was putting this in is any vibrating that this might have up against the frame. But time will tell how that will turn out. But let's go look at the other side. I think they turned out pretty good. Yeah, that looks really nice. They were pretty easy to put on. My one suggestion would be to take the tire off first. That made the process a whole lot easier. And I'm not really sure I would be done yet if I hadn't taken the tire off. So take the tire off. It'll save you a lot of headache and a lot of time if you do that. But that's going to be it for today. We're going to leave it there with the truck. Next time we're going to deal with these steps, see if we can get those off, and maybe we'll get the bull bar on the front and see how that looks. So I decided before I leave, I'm going to try to get these steps off. So all it should take is undoing the body mount bolt right there, and then one more body mount bolt over there with a bracket, and these should pop off. So I've been spraying them with PB Blaster to try to help with the rust and them getting stuck. We're going to try to get them off. Stay tuned. Hopefully they come off pretty easily. So the body mount bolts are going to take a 18mm, and the bracket, which looking at it might have actually been a homemade solution, I'm not exactly sure, but that's going to take a 17mm. So we're going to get up under there and try to get them off. So I'm running into a little issue where the bracket is actually blocking my access to the body mount bolt. So I'm going to have to try to pull that bracket off of the steps before I can take the body mount bolt off for the steps. Alright, so let's take a look really fast. The reason that took so long, because the body mount bolt came up through here, and this bracket was bolted on like that, and I could not get that bracket loose. So I ended up taking the body mount bolt off by hand. Spraying it with PB Blaster probably helped, but it looks like this is called a bushing. Fell apart. So I'm just going to stick this back on for now, but I'm going to have to order a new set of these. But let's put all this back on and see what it looks like. Here's what we look without it. Oh, looks really good. I really like that look. I may not even put steps back on. We'll see. Alright, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you in the next video.